What's up, everybody? This is Covet the Ranting Raven, bringing you a topic from the Raven's Nest. As you know, I'm a huge Rival Schools fan. I do topics on characters. I pretty much played every single Rival Schools game that I could get my hands on, and even some of the crossover games that feature the characters in it. For example, SNK vs. Capcom Card Fighters Class Series, which is also a good game for the Neo Geo. But today, this isn't about cards. It's actually about the first Rival Schools game. For those who may not know, the Japanese and the English versions were different in a way. One of the more noticeable difference was the fact that the Japanese version had a mode called Nekketsu Seisyun Nikki. This mode is basically a dating simulation where you make a character and you go through school day by day, meeting with the other Rival Schools characters and developing relationships, as well as developing your character's moves and his stats. Now, while I never had a chance to play the first one because I never had the Japanese version, obviously I had the English version, I did manage to play part 2, which luckily my friend had owned. This version also has two characters that you may have noticed in Project Justice, which are Ran and Nagare. I remember first seeing them in Project Justice, not really knowing who they were, but to my surprise, I found out that they were actually in the first game and I never really knew it, or would have not known it if it wasn't for my friend. Now, the only thing about this mode is that it's in Japanese, obviously because it's a Japanese only game. But luckily there's a translation guide online which I found at GameFAQs that actually helped me through the story, and I'm sure it helped a lot of players who were interested in it before. After making a character and filling out their bio, which I completely randomly typed everything I could, you can also meet some of the Rival School characters on your first day in. It's your job to build up your character and get your stats up as much as possible, as I mentioned before. And every single choice you make will affect your relationship with these characters, and it might increase or decrease your stats, as well as training for the certain classes you pick. There were also some cool mini games that didn't make it into the first part, and one of them was actually interesting because it was a racing game, where you basically just, track race, well, somewhat like that. It's your character versus Roy or Batsu, I believe it depends on who you pick, and basically you have to keep on pressing the circle button at the right time, which gives your character a boost. There was also a dancing game which I also found pretty funny due to the fact that it was against Batsu, and for a guy who looks pretty built like that, seeing him do some pretty funky moves actually made me laugh, and it's something that I definitely will not forget. There are a few times in the story where Sakura will actually come out to challenge you. Since, like in Street Fighter, she always wanted to become strong and, give Ryu a good fight since Ryu was her idol, I found this interesting too, and it gives you a chance to test out, how good your character is, as far as developing goes, or how well you, put up with certain things in the story. At the end of the story, you finally have access to upload your character and put them into battle mode and arcade mode. Once again, depending on how you perform is what you end up with. So if you did poorly, you can actually have a half a bar of health, and that's pretty shitty. But for those who are really masters at this game, that shouldn't even, mean a thing. I really did wish that this game mode came to the United States, because it would have been something memorable and interesting, and it would have gave the fans, more things to do after they beat the story. I mean, who doesn't like, dating simulations, especially if it's a game like Rival Schools where it's just so damn cool. And I believe if this was, released in the US, I think a lot of people would have actually been more attracted to it, and I think it wouldn't have been forgotten, because something like that, to make a game close to how an anime would be, I think that's, a very special, cool thing that a lot of fans of anime and fighting games would have appreciated worldwide if it was, released like that. But the fact that it was in there in the Rival Schools series to begin with, I think it was a great move, and it actually changed my experience after playing that. So I think that's why the first part's one of my favorites besides Project Justice. The whole Project Justice also had the same, well, I don't want to say same, but it's very similar. The only difference is that it's a board game, but you still go through some things, but I can't really say too much on that because I never played that before. I've only seen videos on it. I don't think it's going to be possible for me to play it as the options. I'm not sure if some translations, will get every single word correctly or so, but it looks interesting. I mean, I'm a fan of board games, but not that hardcore. But yeah, maybe something good, will come in the future if the next rival school games get released, maybe they might actually do one of these cool dating sims later on. I mean, only time will tell, as I said a million times, and I'm looking forward to anything rival schools related that comes into this world. I'd be more than happy to play it, I'd be more than happy to buy it, and support it as always. Well, that's pretty much it for this topic right here. I hope you guys, learned something. Those who never really knew that this game existed, or this extension to the first part existed, or now if you know anybody who has it, try to borrow it off of them. It's worth it, trust me. But anyways, this has been the Raven's Nest with Covet the Ranting Raven. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time. Also, a little side note. So happy Final Fantasy VII is finally getting a remake. I think it's about time, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to actually talk about that on my next topic. We'll just see what happens.